before I turn it back to you, I don't want to see Jalen Reagor catch another pass. I don't want to see him touch another football. That was probably the worst performance I've seen out of a football player in a big game ever.
.365. Are you ready for a long off season, Eagles fans? We're here to get it started for you on Birds 365. Jody McDonald, along with my bud Jeff Kerr today. John McMullen is winging his way back to the cold and the rain and the long off season we are about to enter here in Philadelphia. The Eagles season is over and done with, and we're going to give you the good and the bad of it over the next 2 hours. Jeff Kerr, 31-15, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What the heck happened?
Well, the final score wasn't an indictment of how bad Tampa beat them yesterday. I'll just leave it at that, Jody. You know, it was a calamity of mistakes on offense, on defense, on special teams. Before I turn it back to you, I don't want to see Jalen Reagor catch another pass. I don't want to see him touch another football. That was probably the worst performance I've seen out of a football player in a big game ever.
And there are a whole bunch of things that we're going to point to today, tomorrow, for the next several weeks. This is show 196 of Birds 365. So we will have our 200 show at the end of the week, which I'm looking forward to. It's been a cool 200. I got bad news, though. I got another number, 238. That's the approximate days before the Eagles play another meaningful game. And no, I don't count preseason. But if you believe that the season's going to start on the second Sunday of September, that's 238 days from now. Damn, that seems like a long way off. It seems like a long way that we've done 230 Birds 365 episodes. We got to wait another 238 days before the Eagles play again. That's exactly right. So let's see where we sit, how we got here. I am 100% with you. Jalen Reagor should never don a Philadelphia Eagle uniform again. I know that because of rookie contracts, the way that they're structured, cutting him this offseason is going to be the same cap hit as keeping him this offseason. It's no better, no worse. It's basically the same thing. He's got to go. He can't be here. At some point, as an organization, you have to let your players know that if you don't live up to expectations, if you don't produce, and here's the thing that really bothers me, if you don't improve, Jalen Reagor is not improved. From the day he put his name on the dotted line with the Philadelphia Eagles to 2 years later, he has not gotten any better. Well, then there's got to be consequences. And the consequences is he should never play for the Eagles again. So there are no excuses. There are no, they used a draft pick on him. There are no, well, but he's got athletic gifts that other wide receivers don't have, like Greg Ward. So you got to give him a chance. No. I am 100% with you. It is 100% time to move on from Jalen Reagor. He should never play another snap in the Eagles uniform. And that's a questioning of the head coach, the offensive coordinator, certainly the general manager. I think he's the driving force of all of them, but nobody gets a pass in this. This is an organizational critique and criticism. Jalen Reagor should never be a Philadelphia Eagle another day.
Yeah, and Jalen Reagor was part of the problem of this football team yesterday. There were too many guys on that football field that didn't deserve to be on that football field. You don't got TJ Edwards on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing significant snaps on defense. You don't. The only way they're playing is if significant injuries. And this isn't a knock on TJ Edwards here, but this is the problem right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. They don't match up talent-wise. When I hope Eagles fans got a really, really good look at the elite teams in the National Football League this weekend. And I'm talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm talking about the Buffalo Bills. I'm talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, these are teams that they are deep across the board. And look, I know Tampa Bay lost Tristan Wirfs yesterday, and Ryan Kerrigan could basically eat Tom Brady for lunch after that when he won it. But you are playing elite talent at that position. And that's everywhere in Tampa Bay. Shaq Barrett, Levante David, Devin White. The Eagles, when are they getting a Levante David or Devin White? We're going out there with TJ Edwards and Alex Singleton. You're really going to beat Tom Brady with that? No, you're not. And Jalen Reagor, you couldn't have anybody better catch a punt. I know Greg Ward was out, but you couldn't have anybody go back there and just catch a punt. Just catch it. Kenny Gainwell couldn't do that. Boston Scott couldn't do that. You got to be kidding me. All to prove to your fan base who already knows he's not that good, Jalen Reagor was worth the first-round pick. No, he wasn't. He cost the Eagles this football game just as much as Jalen Hurts, just as much as the offensive line, just as much as the defensive line, just as much as the secondary. Jalen Reagor is the problem in Philadelphia. Players like him, you got to get rid of players like him and get some actual talent in here. This was a playoff team. I am not arguing that. It was a good season. They went to the playoffs. They overachieved. But if you want to take the next step, you got to get the Jalen Reagors, the J.J. Arcega-Whitesides, all these T.J. Edwards type players, even Steve Nelson. And Steve Nelson, I thought, had an okay year. But you got to get rid of
Be very careful. Be very careful. You strayed too far, Jeff Kerr. Steven Nelson had a dynamite year for this team, and I can foresee him going away during free agency, somebody giving him more money because Howie's smarter than everybody else. Be very careful. Steven Nelson played real. Any of the Eagle D-backs you would rather see play than Steven Nelson? Oh, I'll give you Greg Ward right now for Jalen Reagor. Give me the DB you want to see playing instead of Steven Nelson.
Oh, well, that's the thing. Can you upgrade this offseason? And we're going to be talking about that all. Can you upgrade at cornerback too? Is Zach McPherson ready? I don't know. Like, Steven Nelson filled a nice gap for them this year, but still, these are the type of players you need to improve upon. Like, I hate to lump him in there with them, but again, this is what it's going to take to beat a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that they don't seem to be going away anytime soon. It just seems like they're loaded with talent, and the cupboard isn't bare in Tampa.
All right. I think Steven Nelson had a damn good year, and I think he's one of the players the Eagles should seriously think about resigning. There's a whole bunch that we'll talk about today, tomorrow, the rest of the week, the rest of the month, that the Eagles have to get better than. I don't think Steven Nelson is one of them, but we digress. Jeff, let's start at the start. And I know I'm going to sound like a broken record when I go down this road, but it evolves into a larger premises. Before the game was ever played, Eagles went out to the middle of the field for the coin toss. And they won the coin toss. And I should have this figure, but I don't. I know McMullen would. I think in the 18 games they played this year, I think the Eagles won about 12 coin tosses, which is a pretty good number. I think they won about 2/3 of them. And when they did, they deferred every single time. And they do so because of the analytics of it. That, if you get that extra possession in at the end of the first half, you can have back-to-back possessions. You can really build momentum. You can end up with one more possession than the other team at the end of the game. I get all the math of it. I understand it all. But it does not define that decision. It doesn't, because it has the mathematical parameters that it does. It means that you have to do it every single time. If ever there was an example of when the decision should be based on the matchup of the two teams rather than what the analytics say you should do, it was yesterday. You've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You've got Tom Brady. You've got the GOAT. You've got him coming out against your defense, with Jonathan Gannon always has to start with the soft zone defense, and he has the possibility of picking you apart and taking it down the field and sticking it in the end zone. Oh, by the way, that's exactly what he did. Or you can take the ball. You're a run-based offense. You need to establish the fact that you can run the ball against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I would rather attempt to do that at 0-0 than 7-0. Because, oh, by the way, 7-0, if you have a quick 3-and-out, like the Eagles did, can become 14-0. And then it changes the entire dynamic of the game. Nick Sirianni, who I'm very pleased with for a first-year coach and want to do nothing but sing his praises and emphasize the positive, is an idiot. You cannot defer to start that game yesterday. I said it from the moment, and God bless John McMullen, my partner, texts me every week at approximately 12:59 to tell me what happened with the coin flip, because he's there at the stadium and I'm sitting at home waiting for the game to start. And he told me the Eagles won the toss and they deferred. and I wanted to throw my phone across the room. It just was a dumb decision. It's sometimes the right decision. Sometimes it's exactly what you want to do. But the fact that they make it without even thinking about it just annoys the snot out of me, Jeff Carr. Am I a madman out on a limb, or do I have a legitimate line of thinking here?
No, because I thought the same thing you did yesterday, Jody. I'm thinking along the lines of you got a 23-year-old quarterback who was making his first playoff start. You want to kind of get him settled in the game. You knew Todd Bowles was going to blitz him and do all that. But I think I'd rather see him get the ball first and get some positive momentum. If they could. They go 3 and out, they go 3 and out. But I don't like Jalen Hurts entering that football game down 7-0 before he even touched the football. And that was my issue. And you knew that was going to happen because that's Jonathan Gannon. I don't want to hear about the Derek Barnett penalty. You know what? Derek Barnett has a reputation. Was it a BS penalty? Absolutely it was. But he has a reputation for unnecessary roughness and roughing the passer, and they had an opportunity. And look, that led to the touchdown. But the bottom line is you were still down 7-0 by the time Jalen Hurts touched the football. Now Tampa Bay's defense are like, oh, man, we're going to get. No, you're on your toes if you start the game because it's 0-0. And maybe you can get the running game going. And maybe you can get Jalen Hurts to connect on a short throw. And then maybe things go the optics say receive. I mean, that's just me. The optics say receive. I get the analytics, but we were discussing this at CBS yesterday during the second game. Why do teams defer? Well, as you said, Jody, for that extra 2-1 possession thing. But that kind of skews the whole game plan because what happens if you're down 14-17? That kind of gets rid of the what happens if you don't score before the half? Or what happens if you don't score after the half? I don't know. I feel like we're set in our ways with certain things, and deferring the kickoff is one of them. I just didn't like it yesterday. I thought Nick Sirianni should have been a little more aggressive. As a matter of fact, I don't think he was aggressive at all yesterday, if you look at the entire game plan.
We'll get into his game plan, and we'll do so, as I say, over the course of today's show, the next week, the next month. The Derek Barnett penalty, not to the level of Jalen Reagor, but Derek Barnett, nice knowing you. His contract is up at the end of the season. I don't think there is rhyme or reason as to why the Eagles could or should or will be bringing him back. Was it a borderline call, the roughing the passer penalty? Yes. Troy Aikman, who many Eagle fans that I've been talking to over the years, 20 years now on WIP, just can't stand him because he's a former Eagle Cowboy quarterback. He's a damn good announcer, and he took your back, Eagle fans, that he thought it was a bad call. I thought it was a borderline call. Should it have been called? Probably not. You don't give the referee that chance. You know that there's a possibility that they're going to throw the flag. What did the hit accomplish? I know the whole thing, he's making his move toward the quarterback. He can't stop. Yeah, you can. Guys do it all the time. Guys pull up. Guys slide off. Guys make sure they don't get the penalty. Derek Barnett doesn't do that. Why? As Jeff Carr just correctly pointed out, he's got a reputation. That's the way he plays the game. He plays the game foolishly. He can't be back here. He was a major disappointment this year. If you want to hang it, the Eagles lost because of that penalty. Well, it was a 50-50 shot, and the 50 went against the Eagles. So sorry. They had every chance to right the wrong thereafter, and they didn't. Why? Because the Bucs were just that much better a team than them. Which brings us into another conversation, which I'm going to sound about like a broken record again. But it's only a 2-week broken record, other than a full season broken record like me whining and moaning about the deferral of Nick Sirianni. Coming into this game, starting with after the Eagles clinched their playoff position now more than 2 weeks ago, we started to look ahead to the teams that the Eagles could potentially play. And I don't know if you specifically are on this train, Jeff Carr. I'm giving you a potential to take a pass here. I hope you're honest with me. And I apologize for not remembering exactly what you said. But we had a whole bunch of guys on Birds 365 here. Myself, John McMullen, and a lot of guests. I had guests on WIP. I talked to a lot of WIP callers who, in my estimation, unbelievably foolishly said, bring on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That was not me.
Okay, good for you, Jeff Kerr. I didn't think it was. That's why I didn't want to drop it in your lap because I didn't think you were one of them. One of our guests later today, Paul Domowitch, was, and we'll talk to him about this. Another one was my partner, John McMullen, who said, yes, I would rather play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than the Dallas Cowboys. And I tried to enlighten these people over the last 2 weeks. And some of them listened. Some of them readjusted. Some of them took firm stances. And after yesterday's results, you just can't possibly look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, I had that one right. Why would you want Tom Brady? If you have your choice between Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, or Tom Brady, the last guy you should ask for is Tom Brady. Now, I posed it between the Bucs and the Cowboys. There were some people who said Tom Brady would be their number one choice. The beat-up Buccaneers, the limping into the playoffs Buccaneers, the injured Buccaneers were the team they wanted to face, which was, quite frankly, asinine. And yet a whole bunch of guys said just that, and way too many said, give me the Bucs over the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. It's just dumb, Jeff Kerr. Tom Brady, and I know he doesn't listen to Birds 365 or get the lowdown from the Philadelphia radio airways down here, but this is the kind of stuff that he lives for. Just tell him you can't do something. Like Nick Sirianni possibly going, yeah, Tom, here, you take the ball first and go down the field against us. You don't do that. There's a reason that he's the GOAT. There's a reason he's the best of all time. You don't tug on Superman's cape. And that's exactly what a lot of Philadelphia media and Eagle fans did before this game was ever played. Be careful what you ask for because Tom Brady just gave it to you.
I was going to joke with Rob Motti last week because he was the one who asked Tom Brady about the whole Nick Foles Super Bowl non-handshake. I'm like, oh, thanks, Rob. Thanks for motivating him even more now. You know, I'm sure he always, you know, Jim Gray did on Sirius XM NFL radio this week too, brought up the whole Super Bowl loss to the Eagles. I'm like, well, Tom Brady's already motivated to kick the Eagles' butts. So I didn't want any part of that Tampa Bay team. I don't care how beat up they were. Tom Brady and Bruce Arians are the best quarterback head coach duo in the NFL right now. Why? Because I ranked them over the offseason. Right now, they are undefeated in the playoffs, and they're just a really good football team. And Bruce Arians is absolutely right. Once Tom Brady figures you out, it's game over. And Brady was able to do that early and often. And, yeah, the Eagles had their opportunities, no doubt. But basically, if you blinked, they were down 17-0. And I didn't want any part to do with them. I really didn't want any part to do with the Cowboys either because that's a mismatch for the Eagles. I loved how the Cowboys threw the 49ers because I knew that was a matchup that they weren't going to win. And then, you know, that was a battle of idiots between Kyle Shanahan and Mike McCarthy. I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But, yeah, those were – if I had to pick, if you're an Eagles fan and you wanted to pick the team, I would pick either the Rams or the Cardinals, whoever's playing tonight, because the Rams – their offense is struggling going into the playoffs. I know Cam Akers is back, but Matthew Stafford just turns the ball over left to right for no inexplicable reason. And the Cardinals have been limping into the playoffs. I mean, that's the team that's limping, not Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay just had guys beat up. Tampa Bay was still winning football games. I didn't want anything to do with Tampa. I didn't want anything to do with Dallas. But Tampa especially. And, you know, going down there, Tampa just proved why they're one of the top 3, top 4 teams in the NFL yesterday. Like, everybody just keeps talking about Super Bowl contender, and everybody was trying to say Dallas Cowboys. I'm like, no, it's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's Tampa Bay. It's Tampa Bay, Green Bay. It's Kansas City. It's Buffalo. And unfortunately, one of them is going to get eliminated next week, which I don't get. But again, it's just one of those teams. You don't want to face the GOAT. You just don't. I don't like to face Patrick Mahomes. I don't like to face Josh Allen. I don't like to face Aaron Rodgers. I don't like to face Tom Brady. And the Eagles got one of them. It's unfortunate. You know, I figured maybe if the Eagles could challenge them on the ground game and Jalen Hurts could play okay, they have a decent shot. But I was way off of my prediction. I predicted the Bucs to beat the Eagles, but I thought the game was going to be close. But everything that I thought was going to happen did happen. Gronk was going to take over. You know, the Bucs are going to make Jalen Hurts throw the ball, and they did. And, you know, I still thought the Eagles would hang tough, and they didn't hang at all.
Quick question. I know we're talking Eagles today, but I got to ask you one question. Idiot? Shanahan? Really? Why?
Did you see all the questionable decisions he was making yesterday? You know, just not in the game plan. but I feel like he relies on Jimmy Garoppolo a little too much for him being
the quarterback.
His guy. I know.
They ran the ball much more than they passed the ball. What are you talking about?
Look, this is just me, trying to break down that game as much as he could. Now, Mike McCarthy made him look like a genius. But to me, Kyle Shanahan, that game was won when it was 23-7. I would have just kept pounding the ball down their throats. And, look, Jimmy Garoppolo missed Brandon Ayuk. There's no doubt about that. Brandon Ayuk beat Trayvon Diggs. But some of the decisions Kyle Shanahan was making late in that game, I was just thinking to myself, what are you doing here? Like, the whole delay of game on 4th and inches, just go for it. You got the game won. They're not going to stop you. And, and then you take the other delay. Then the other penalty comes about. The whole, you're getting too cute with the Trent Williams thing. Just pound the ball up the middle. Like, what are we doing here? Kyle Shanahan called a great game yesterday until the game, in my opinion, was out of hand. And Dallas should have never even gotten an opportunity to have their blunders at the end.
Well, the 49ers are moving on. I don't know that I'd call Kyle Shanahan
an
idiot in any way, shape, or form. I thought he did a nice job of winning on the road. Oh, by the way, the only playoff team yesterday to win on the road. So I'd give the coach more props than questions off that performance. All right, Jeff Kerr's in for John McMullen today with me, Jody Mack, here on Birds 365. We got two great Eagle guests coming your way. A little later, Paul Domwich, Philly Mag, formerly The Inquirer, hop aboard. We'll ask Damo about yesterday's game and the entire season. And we will do the same with our first guests from Bleeding Green Nation. Their editor, Brandon Lee Gouton, joins us next here on Birds 365.